The next thing we'll calculate is a difference in price between a pound of tomatoes and a pound of lemons, and we'll do it for each month and year. I made the title Difference in Prices, and I indicated that I'm going to calculate the price of tomatoes minus the price of lemons. So we're going to find out how much greater is the cost for a pound of tomatoes. Since this means we're going to be doing a subtraction for each row, we're going to use a formula. Clicking on this box, go up to the bar, make sure you hit the equals first. We're going to take the real price of tomatoes, which is in column J, and we're going to subtract the real price in column E, a difference of about 7 cents. Now let's apply this formula to all the rows in the table. When we see negative values, we know that means that the price of lemons was higher, and positive values when the price of tomatoes is higher. This will be a good opportunity for us to look at formatting the cells. I'm going to highlight with a click and drag all of these difference in prices, and then I'll do a right click and format the cells. The pattern that we want to use for money is going to be found in the currency category. And I think the example that we want to use will be one that shows dollars and cents. This one already highlighted looks good. It looks like it's going to turn that result into 6 cents, which I think is accurate. So this whole column has been formatted, and now it looks like nice dollar amounts. It's extra helpful that the negative results are automatically in red. Looking at this result from February 1980, the difference in price between a pound of tomatoes and a pound of lemons was only 1 cent. Just a little more than a year later, in April of 1981, tomatoes cost $1.53 more. What was the maximum difference in prices? We can do this in a few different ways. One way would be to use the maximum function. Let me first put in a title. Maximum difference. We want the result to show up right here in L3. I'll go to the formula bar, or the input line, hit equals, and we want to find what was the largest number of all these differences. We'll type in MAX for maximum, and left parenthesis, and we have two options. We can click and drag all of these, and then go back up here and right parenthesis, or if you see what's shown up here, L10 colon L405. That's another way that we can include all the cells starting in L10 and going all the way through column L down to L405. So we can click and drag, or we could just type in the starting cell colon ending cell. And we'll hit enter and see that the maximum difference was $2.56. Now this difference that we calculated was the price of tomatoes minus the price of lemons, so this maximum difference represents the amount greater of the price of tomatoes compared to lemons. If we want to find what was the greatest difference when lemons were more expensive, we could find the minimum of this column because those are the negative numbers when lemons cost more. So let's try that. The result will go in O3, and we'll hit equals MIN for minimum. And we're going to search this column L of differences, L10 colon L405. And that result is $1.26. It found the smallest, the most negative number when a pound of lemons cost $1.26 more than a pound of tomatoes. The next function that we'll look at will calculate the difference in prices, but we won't pay attention to positives or negatives. We won't care which tomatoes or lemons actually costs more. We just care about the actual difference in prices. When you're figuring out the difference, but you don't care about positives or negatives, you only want to see a positive result for the difference, that means you're looking for an absolute value. So we'll hit equals ABS. We'll calculate the absolute value. We want to find the absolute value or the absolute difference. So we can either say, go to cell L10 and find the absolute value, or we can type back in that subtraction that we're doing, the difference of real prices. J10 minus E10. Now this mistake actually was not on purpose. I meant to have that right here in row 10. So that's a quick fix. I'm going to go up to the bar, I'm going to highlight all and hit Control X to cut it out. And I'll click the cell where I actually wanted that to be, here in row 10, column M. Go up to the bar and we'll Control V or paste it back in. Much better. Let's click and drag this all the way down. Let's also format these cells into a price. And we can see the same results, just all the negatives have been turned into positives. We've taken the absolute value of the difference between prices. So let's put a little title in here to say this is the absolute difference. Next, I'm interested in these differences. I want to know on the average the difference between the price of a pound of lemons and a pound of tomatoes. We've seen that it can be as low as 1 cent and as high as $2.56. But what is that actual average difference? I'll put in a title for average difference. We'll put the result right here in 07. Equals for a function, the word average, and parentheses. We want to find the average of this whole column M. So we're going to type in from M10 all the way down to M405, our last row. And the average difference in price, 34 cents.